Woo! What's going on, guys? Orange Form coming at you guys today with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the preview. Week 6 coming up. Detroit Lions going to Texas, facing off against the Dallas Cowboys. Detroit Lions coming in at 3-1. Dallas Cowboys at 3-2. Another NFC matchup. The revenge tour, kind of, if you want to kind of go with that. You know, we beat Seattle last week. This is another revenge game that we got on the board for the Detroit Lions. It's been a long time since we beat these Dallas Cowboys, man. It's time to beat these. This is a game I think both teams need for sure. But let's get down to some injuries. We'll talk about the Lions, talk about the Cowboys. We go with the Lions first because they are the road team. The Lions are coming into this game pretty healthy. We had a bye week last week against that Seattle team. You know, we had a couple guys out. All those guys are coming back. Branch was out. Ragnow was out. We lost some guys, you know. Obviously, we lost Barnes. We lost Marcus Davenport for the year. Derek Barnes, the linebacker, seems to be gone for the year as well. But we're coming into this game fairly healthy. Now, offensive guard rookie Christian Mahogany. He had an illness. He was a full practice on Friday, but he is out. This is a guy that had mono. He was a 6th-round pick from Boston College. You guys know who Mahogany is. A depth piece, you know, at the moment. Don't know what he's going to contribute this year, but probably some depth if and when he makes the 53-man roster, which I think he will eventually. But he is out for this football game. And then we had guys like DB Brian Branch, who had an illness, full practice, no injury designation. He's good to go. Safety Kirby Joseph, you know, he had a hamstring. He's had some back things going on. He kind of a late addition to the injury report this week with that hamstring injury. He was a full practice on Friday, no injury designation. He's good to go. And then center Frank Ragnow has got that half torn pec, full practice, good to go. He was trying to go 2 weeks ago against the Seattle Seahawks. Apparently, he gave Dan Campbell a shot or two to try and prove that he was good to go against the Seattle Seahawks. Almost put him through the wall, apparently, but Campbell told him, "Nah, man, we're going to save you for the bye. You know, we could probably get a game or two without your needs." And they sat him against the Seahawks, and it turned out that we did pretty well. Glasgow kind of fit in pretty nicely at center, but he's good to go this game against the Dallas Cowboys. So like I said, we're coming into this game fairly healthy. You know, obviously losing guys like Davenport and Derek Barnes does hurt, but all in all, we're a pretty healthy squad coming into this Dallas game. Now, the Cowboys is a whole different story, man. Now, they got guys out, outside linebacker, defensive end. Micah Parsons got an ankle injury, did not practice. He is out. Kind of a late addition to linebacker Eric Kendricks, you know, with a calf and shoulder, did not practice. He is out as well. They got guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, who's on IR, good defensive end. Wide receiver Brandon Cooks on IR. Defensive end, a rookie Marshawn Nealon. I think it was their 1st-round pick. He's out too as well. So they got some guys banged up. Cornerback Trevon Diggs, illness, ankle. He was limited practice. He looks like he's got no injury designation, so he should be playing this Sunday. Cornerback Darren Bland, another guy with a foot injury, did not practice. I don't think he's even played this year. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this is his 1st or 2nd game back. I could be wrong, but he didn't practice on Friday. He's questionable, but it sounds like he's back. That's what my boy Tommy's saying. You know, he's giving me text messages telling me to look out. We're gonna look out, buddy. Who else? Safety Marquise Bell with an illness. He was a full practice. Looks like no injury designation. Cornerback Kalen Carson, shoulder, full practice. He is questionable though. Tackle, rookie Tyler Guyton with a knee, full practice. No injury designation, looked like he's good to go. Safety Malik Hooker with a neck, full practice. No injury designation, good to go. Linebacker, I'm going to mess this guy's name, Maurice Lufo. I probably absolutely butchered that, but that's okay. He's got a quad injury, full practice, looks like he's good to go. And then guard Zach Martin with kind of the vet rest, got some back things going on as well. He was a full practice. He was good to go as well. And then linebacker Nick Vigil with a foot injury, did not practice. He is questionable. So we'll see what happens there. Probably testing that out on Sunday afternoon. But yeah, this is a game, that the Cowboys are banged up. We're coming in pretty healthy, losing a couple starters on defense. But like I said, we're pretty healthy going into this football game, and the Cowboys got a couple studs missing. Now let's get down to rosters really fast. We can kind of run through these rosters. Quarterback Jared Goff, running back Dave Montgomery, Jamar Gibbs. We need two big games from those guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, Allen Robinson kind of rounded off. Allen Robinson hasn't done much at the wide receiver position, but he's dressed the past couple of games, and he was actually signed to the roster a couple weeks ago. So, and then tight end Sam Laporta, Brock Wright backing him up. Left tackle Taylor Decker, left guard looks like it's going to be probably Graham Glasgow now that Ragnow's back at center. Coyote Awasika, who had a really nice game versus the Seahawks, backing him up. Maybe he's going to get some more play as well, because Glasgow hasn't been great at guard this year. Center Frank Ragnow, right guard Kevin Zeitler, and right tackle the beast, the all-pro Penei Sewell. And then the defense, our defensive end is going to be probably a mixture of Levi Onwuzurike and Josh Pascal. I'm not a huge Pascal fan, if you guys already know that. I think he's a solid player, but more of a run stuffer at this point. And I think we need a better edge opposite Hutchinson. The nose tackle, DJ Reader. Defensive tackle, Liam McNeil. Rookie Makai Wingo in there. Levi can bounce it on the inside too. Inside, outside for Levi. And then defensive end, A. Hutchinson, who's having a great season to start off his this season with 6.5 sacks. Leads the NFL in pressures. I expect him to continue that. Linebacker Jack Campbell. Linebacker Alex Anzalone and Malcolm Rodriguez getting a lot of play with Barnes out. I still think they need to go get a linebacker. So you're gonna see guys like Ben Neiman. You might see Trevor Nowoski in there. Jalen Reeves-Maben, more of a special teams guy, but it's a little bit of a rotation going on right now. Go get Devin White, for Pete's sakes. Go get him. Just go get him. I don't think he's a game-changing linebacker, but he can make some plays. So I don't know, man. I do think he would be an upgrade over guys like Rodriguez and Neiman and Trevor Nowoski. Even though I like Rodriguez, but I just think he'd be an upgrade. And then cornerbacks, Carlton Davis III. Safeties are Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. Brandon Joseph kind of filling in a little bit for Brian Branch against the Seahawks and had an okay game. Cornerback rookie Terrion Arnold, and then nickel cornerback Amik Robertson, who I think is having a pretty solid year. Nothing special. And then you got Enos Rakestraw Jr., the rookie out of Missouri, kind of backing him up, who hasn't seen a lot of time. He's gotten hurt at the beginning of the year. He had that hamstring that kind of pulled up during pre-warm-ups. So I'd like to see some Rakestraw more, but that's okay. And then obviously Jack Fox and Jake Bakes kind of rounded off in special teams as the punter and the kickers. Now this Cowboys offense, quarterback Dak Prescott, Prescott does his thing. We'll talk about him in a bit. Running back Rico Dowdell and Ezekiel Elliott, Deuce Vaughn, they put no fear into anybody, that running back union. And that's not a diss. That's not trying to be a smart ass, because I got some friends that are Cowboys fans. They just don't put any fear into anybody anymore. Zeke is completely washed, I think. Rico Dowdell is just a RB2, RB3 at best, and Deuce Vaughn is about, I could put that kid in my pocket. He's that small. Now wide receivers are a little bit different. No, CeeDee Lamb is an absolute stud. Brandon Cooks, like I said, he is out for I don't know if he's out for the season. I know he's on IR though. I don't know if it's season ending or just like 4 to 6 weeks. But I know he's out, and that's big. I really like that Jalen Tolbert kid that they picked up a couple years ago. They drafted, was it 2 years ago? But he's starting to kind of come into his own a little bit now, with no Cooks obviously out there. Look for Jalen Tolbert. He's a guy that I kind of put a little asterisk next to, a little star that I think could have a big day. I already think CeeDee Lamb's going to go off, but Jalen Tolbert's a guy you got to keep an eye on. And then guys like Jalen Brooks and Kevontae Turpin. Kevontae Turpin's more of a kind of a gadget guy, man, who with a lot of speed. And then tight end Jake Ferguson, a very athletic tight end. And then they use their fullback to the fullest. I like that Hunter Luepke kid. I think a couple years back when they drafted him, he was one of the strongest guys ever to come out of the combine. He's a beast. That guy is an absolute beast. And they use him in the pass game a little bit. They feed him the ball He's not a big part of the offense, but if you watch the Cowboys game, you see that they do use him a little bit. So he's a guy that you kind of have to look out for, man. And he's trying to run you over too. The left tackle rookie Tyler Guyton is a good one. Left guard Tyler Smith, center rookie Cooper Beebe, the guy that I really like coming into this draft, and right guard Zach Martin, and then right tackle Terrence Steele. It's a pretty solid O-line. It's probably one of the better O-lines in the league. I like their left tackle. I like the rookies that they got with Beebe and Guyton. I think they have a pretty solid offensive line still, man. That's one thing that they always prided on in Dallas is their O-line. I think it's pretty good. Now their defense. Now the defense is banged up, so you're going to see defensive ends. It's kind of like my guess who's probably going to be starting. Defensive end, you're going to see some Chauncey Golston, because DeMarcus Lawrence. Nose tackle Mozzie Smith. You see a little bit of Joseph Linval in there, the veteran. Defensive 10, Osa Odighizuwa. Well, I think I might have got that one right. At defensive tackle, defensive end, Tyrus Wheat, Carl Lawson. Remember, no Micah Parsons, who can fill in at defensive end, outside linebacker. And then the linebackers are rookie, that kid that I absolutely destroyed his name, Maurice Lufau. I don't know much about that kid, I'm going to be honest with you. Linebacker Buddy Johnson, you usually see Eric Kendricks in there. He's out too. If you guys remember Eric Kendricks too, as a Lions fan, you remember that guy used to put the fear of God into Lions fans and Lions players in general when he was a Minnesota Viking. The guy's been around. It feels like that guy's been around for 35 years, Eric Kendricks. I know obviously that's exaggerated, but this is a guy that's been around for a long time, and that's a bigger loss than people say it is. Eric Kendricks is a pretty good linebacker. Then Sam linebacker DeMarvion Overshown, a guy that was kind of like, this guy's full of energy, man. That's a guy that's full of energy. He's all over the place. He can cover. He can play the run. He's not the biggest linebacker out there, but he plays bigger than he is. Then cornerback Trevon Diggs, safeties Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson, who I like. I like Donovan Wilson a lot. He's a big hitter. He can make some plays. Then cornerback Darren Bland, Andrew Booth out there. Andrew Booth is out there, by the way. Target him. If Andrew Booth is out there, target him. And then nickel cornerback Jordan Lewis, the ex-Michigan Wolverine, talks a lot of junk. Last week he was doing it all game versus against Pittsburgh there, against what's that kid, George Pickens. Pickens grabbing him by the face mask at the end of the game. Lewis coming out, they got out of the tunnel saying, I forget what he said about George Pickens, get bigger or something like that. Like, get some more weight on you. I forget what he said. He said something kind of funny. He's a shit talker. There's been. I remember last year when we played the Cowboys, Amon-Ra St. Brown came on. I don't know if it was his own podcast. He does it with his brother. He has a podcast, the St. Brown podcast, with his brother Equinemius, and he was telling everybody how Jordan Lewis talks so much shit that he can't even repeat what this guy says. It's so bad. So they got a little thing going back and forth. I'm sure they'll be on each other. But Jordan Lewis talks a lot of shit. He does, as a nickel cornerback, man. And I like Jordan Lewis. He's kind of an up-and-down player for the Cowboys, too, as well. Now, let's talk about the NFL stats, the rankings. We'll go the offense first. This is how we do it, Lions first. We'll do the offense. Yards per game, 397 yards per game. Lions are third overall. Rushing per game, 151.2 yards a game. That puts us at seventh. Per rush, 4.7 per rush. Tied for ninth in the NFL. Passing per game, we're throwing for about 245.8. That puts us at seventh. QBR, 98.6. Ninth. Sacks, we're only giving up 7 sacks, so we're tied for third in the NFL. Third down percentage as third downs converting into third downs. We're at a 45.8% clip. Puts us at number 5 in the NFL. We're possessing the ball on offense at 31 minutes and 35 seconds. That puts us at number 9. And in points per game, we're scoring 26 points per game. That puts us at number 7 in the NFL. So this offense is a top 5 to top 10 offense. Again, it's a juggernaut of an offense. A lot of people want to make fun of Jared Goff. They want to say that, Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a legit number 1. J-Mo's a bust. Why do you got to have 2 running backs? I hear it all from a lot of people talking a lot of shit about this offense. And it's just casual shit. It's just casual stuff, man. This is a legit number one, like a legit top 5 to top 10 offense. And we do a lot of things really, really well. There's not a lot of stuff we don't do well. We score touchdowns. We convert thirds into firsts. We move the ball at will. It's just a really good offense. And they haven't even really begun to click yet. They clicked a little bit, obviously, in that Seattle game. When you put 40-something points on the board, you're starting to click. If I don't think every week we're going to put 40-plus on the board, but we're going to move the ball easily. We just got to score touchdowns. And they score a ton. On the ground, Goff hasn't thrown a lot of touchdowns, but you don't really need to when you have a run game like that. He's still going to probably throw for 25, 30 touchdowns. So it's not like he's going to have a bad year. The offense is legit. Now, the Cowboys. Let's go to the Cowboys. 353.6 yards total. That puts them at 11th. They rush for about 82 yards a game. That puts them at 31st. They do not run the football well. They just don't. They just can't. They don't have the firepower right there. Like I said, Ezekiel is washed. Dowdell is not a guy that you're looking to be the guy. And Deuce Vaughn is just, I don't even know that if that kid plays. Like, to be perfectly honest with you. And per rush, 3.5 yards per rush, that puts them at 31st. But they can pass the ball, 271.6 yards. That puts them at 3rd in the NFL. QBR at 92.1. That puts them at 15th. So around middle of the pack for Dak there. They give up 12 sacks. That's tied for 8th in the NFL. Converting third downs into first, they're at a 44.6%. That puts them at 8th. So they are converting thirds into firsts. Possession, 28 minutes, 8 seconds. That puts them at 28th in the NFL. So they're not spending a lot of time on the field as an offense. And they're scoring 23.4 points a game. That puts them at 14th overall. So all in all, it's still a good offense. They don't run the ball well at all, though. They are extremely one-dimensional. They are very one-dimensional, but teams have a tough time stopping their pass game because Dak's Dak. He can do some things, man. He's a good quarterback. Their wide receivers are legit. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL. I still think Jefferson is better than him, but CeeDee Lamb's right there. It's like flip a coin. Then Tolbert's coming into his own. When they got Cooks in there, he's good. He's not playing this week. So, they got a good tight end, very athletic. They move the ball well through the air. They just don't run the ball well. That's it. So they do everything pretty else really good there, except running the football. Now let's talk about the defense. Lions first, yards a game. We're giving up 349 yards a game. That puts us at 22nd overall. We're stopping the rush per game. We're giving up 90.8 yards a rush. That puts us at number 4. Per rush, 4.4 against, tied for 8th. Passing per game, teams are throwing on us. We are 27th in the NFL, giving up 258.2 yards a game. QBR is not that bad. You would think it'd be a little bit worse. It's 84.5 against. That's at 13th. So it's, quarterbacks are having success, but they're not getting a lot of touchdowns against us. I guess that's what I can say. So I think that's why probably the QBR is a little bit lower. Sacks, we got 11 sacks on the season. Not good enough. Tied for 29th. Not good at all when you have one guy that's got 6.5, and that's Hutchinson. So get him some help. Get him some help immediately. Now, third down percentage, we're stopping guys at about a 31.7% clip. So that's tied for 6th. So we are getting off the field as a defense in that aspect. Possession per game, we're on the field at 29 minutes, 34 seconds. That's 9th. That's pretty good. Points per game, very good. 20.5 points per game. That puts us at 7th. So this defense has improved. It's still a very good run defense. Still upper echelon run defense. Top 5 or 4th overall, actually. Points, we're not giving up a lot of points. We're giving up a lot of yards, though, through the air. That's one thing that we're doing. So it's night and day from last year, though. Last year, man, we were, we had a great run defense, but we were giving up a ton of yards through the air and getting scored on a lot. You know what I mean? This year, that's not happening. Even though the secondary has struggled, we still got, we're still not, we're keeping everything in front of us, and we're doing good things there and not letting a lot of teams score. Now with the Cowboys, yards per game, they're giving up 329.4. That puts them at 14th. Rush per game, you can rush on this team. You got to run the ball down the throats. 135 they're giving up per game. That's 23rd in the NFL. Per rush, 4.4 yards per rush. That's tied for 8th. 194.4 pass per game. That's 10th in the NFL. QBR is 87.3 against. That's 16th. They have 11 sacks on the season. Not good enough. Got guys banged up. Tied for 29th, same as the Lions. Third down percentages, they're stopping guys at about a 31.7% clip. It's exactly like the Lions, still tied for 6th. So they're getting off the field a little bit on third down, more than you would think. Possession, they're on the field at 31 minutes, 51 seconds. That's 28th in the NFL. That's not good. They're on the field a lot. Those 2 minutes mean a lot. It is a big difference compared to what the Lions are. And points per game, they're giving up 24.2 points a game. That's tied for 23rd in the NFL. So still a pretty good defense. They're giving up a ton on the ground. They're hard to throw on, though. They're very hard to throw on. It should be a team that you have to bully ball. This is the team you have to bully ball. Now, let's talk about the offenses and the defenses. I kind of went over a little bit, like a little bit sparingly. This offense in Detroit, man, like I said, you got to run the ball on these guys. That's how you're going to win this football game. That's how you're going to win this football game. You got to bully them up. You got to have at least, for this team to win this football game, we got to at least have over 30 plus carries as a duo. Okay, you want to throw J-Mo in there on an end sweep, a Khalif Raymond, whatever you got to do. It's got to be 30 plus. It's got to be 30 plus. I don't think if we're throwing the ball more than, if Goff is dropping back and throwing the ball 35, 40 plus times, there's a chance we could lose this football game. And that's not a shot on Goff. That's not a shot on anybody offensively here, because I think we have the firepower. Like, I love St. Brown. I love J-Mo. J-Mo's coming into his own finally. But they are very good pass defense, even with guys like Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, that pass rush. Even with those guys out, they got their 2 all-pro corners back in Bland and Diggs. I think Bland's playing, not 100%. He's probably going to test that foot out. But those are 2 corners that they take a lot of chances. Okay, that's 2 things they do. Things they do well. Okay, they cause turnovers. But what they do is they try to jump routes a lot, and they put themselves out of position. Now, a smart OC, they're going to bite a lot of fakes. Goff's going to have to do a lot of fakes. He's going to have to do a lot of play actions. Get these guys to bite. Get these guys to bite, and just don't, on your first read, don't be eyeing somebody down, Goff, looking one way, because Bland or Diggs will smell blood in the water, and they will come for that. Now, if you do that, you can throw somebody out, do a pump fake, go to somebody else. That's where the O-line has to kick in, and block for this team. And I'm not worried about this team blocking. Even if Lawrence and Parsons were playing, I'm still confident enough in this O-line to shut that shit down. Now, those guys not playing, Parsons and Lawrence, is advantage Lions. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we don't have an advantage here. But you still got to make these guys bite. Bland and Diggs will bite, because they're always looking to make the play. It's not that they're completely undisciplined players, but they can be at times. You know this, Tommy. You do know this. They can be undisciplined, but they're ballers. They're ball hawks. They get to the ball. They make plays. They are good football players. Never going to take that away from them, but they do tend to bite on first reads, first pump fakes. So that's what you got to do to these guys. And then you just got to run the ball. You got to run the hell out of the football, and I think you're going to bully the hell out of them. They don't have a big defensive front. They just don't. Mozzie Smith is a smaller defensive tackle. Linval Joseph is a massive man, but he's like 97 years old. So we have the size advantage up front, and we should be able to bully the hell out of these guys, run it 30, 35 times a game, and we're going to win this football game. Now, defensively, this is a team that the Dallas Cowboys, they don't run the ball. They can't. They don't have the physical brute anymore. That they don't have those brutal linemen like they do. They still have a good old line. Don't get me wrong, but I think more of it has to do with the running back situation too as well. Ezekiel's not the same guy he was 5-6 years ago, obviously. He's not the same guy he was last year, 2 years ago when he was with the Patriots. He's not the same guy. And Rico Dowdell, give me a break. All year I was hearing about how Rico Dowdell is going to be like this RB1 in Dallas. He hasn't shown any of that, guys. He hasn't shown any of that. This is a team that just doesn't run the football. They're extremely one-dimensional. But that one thing they do well, they do it very, very well. And that's throw the ball. Prescott, if you give him time, he will slice and dice you. He's a guy that's going to make some mistakes here and there. But he's had a lot of success against us. Detroit, I think it's a little bit different this year. But CeeDee Lamb, there seems to be something going on there with him and Lamb. They don't get along. It's overblown. They don't get along. It's overblown. They love each other. They don't like each other. There's some weird shit going on in Dallas, man, with those two guys. And they don't have Brandon Cooks, but I really like that Jalen Tolbert guy. It's a guy that I put a star next to, like I said earlier, who keep an eye on. And they have a really good tight end in Jake Ferguson who could have a big day. I don't know who's going to be covering him. We don't have great cover linebackers. Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell. Campbell hasn't been good since he was a great cover linebacker at Iowa, Jack Campbell. But so far early in his NFL career, he's been a terrible pass cover linebacker. Anzalone's been the better one. And Jalen Reeves-Maven is probably our best cover linebacker, and he barely sees the field. He's just a special team ace. So it's a lot of Anzalone on running backs and tight ends coming out to cover those guys. So, you know what I mean? So you got to really be careful where Jake Ferguson is. CeeDee Lamb's going to get his. Tolbert's going to get his. Arnold's in for a treat. Who's going to be covering CeeDee Lamb? Hopefully it's Carlton Davis, but he hasn't even been that great this year. You know, he hasn't been that great. He's a physical guy, though. And one thing about Carlton Davis, you got to calm down, bro, on being so heated on the field. That Seattle game, he went after referees. Now, I thought the referees were flag happy. I thought on both sides. I think there was over 20-something flags going on between both sides of that game. That Seattle Monday Nighter that I was at. And it was just flag happy, man. They were just boom, 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 throwing flags. Carlton Davis went after the referee physically in that football game and then verbally after the game. Keep your mouth shut because referees, man, they'll come after you. You know, they're not going to tell you that they're going to come after you, but they remember when you start bagging on these guys, saying they're not doing their jobs, blah, 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 dissing them any way you can, they're going to remember that stuff. So just keep your mouth shut, Carlton Davis, and play. Be physical. Do what you're doing. You know, he's been sticky for the most part, but he's letting up a lot of plays. Terrion Arnold is doing that too. He's been really sticky, but he's too handsy. He's grabbing on the guys. So Prescott is going to smell that. Every quarterback in the NFL is going to smell that. They know that Terrion Arnold loves to grab guys. That's what he does. He grabs guys. You're not at Alabama anymore, bro. You're not at Alabama. You can't just be using those hands like you think you can. So, you know, be sticky, but try to not use your hands as much. And then the calls won't be there. But now the refs are looking for it. Then you got Carlton Davis running his gums, thinking he's something that he's not. Just keep your mouth shut, you know, just head down, play football. So that's it, guys. You know, run the football against the Cowboys. You got to get the Prescott. You have to get the Prescott with sacks, pressures, quarterback hits, hurries, all that stuff. You got to really get him to the ground. That's what you got to do. You got to rattle his cage. You know what I mean, I just don't know where it's going to come from besides Aiden Hutchinson, because I don't trust anybody else on that defense to really pressure the quarterback. Levi's done a nice job. You know, Pascal is not that guy. James Houston is an afterthought after being 8 sacks in like 9 games 2 years ago. Who knows what's going on with him? Is he's even going to dress this week? You know, there's been talks about him getting like cut. We picked up a couple outside linebackers, rush ends. You know, they're practice squad guys, but they're guys that have played in the NFL. So, you know, I don't know where that pass rush is going to come from. Aleem's going to have a big day against Cooper Beebe, and I think he's capable of doing that, but the pressure is going to have to come from someone other than Hutchinson. And just stick on these wide receivers. Keep everything in front of you. That's one good thing that the Lions have done this year. They get gashed through the air, but they don't let a lot of guys get behind them. They don't let guys get behind them. They'd rather give up the big chunks and then lock it down within the red zone from the 20 yards and in, and then not let teams score. That's what they've been doing. It's worked for the most part, But, you know, you got to be careful with some of these teams, man. And you got to just score. You got to score on Dallas, man. Just keep scoring. Running the football, these guys were winning this game. That's it. I expect Montgomery and Gibbs to go completely nuts in this football game. I'm predicting like 180 to 200 plus yards on the ground. That's what it should be for the both of them combined, with 1 or 2, 3, 4 touchdowns. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be more than one. It'll be 2 or 3 or more. So that's it, guys. The prediction, you know, I was going back and forth with this. Ears up, Tommy. Ears up. 30 to 24. Detroit Lions, revenge game intact. Put this away. This is a big game for both squads. Both squads. We have a tough schedule in the next 4 or 5 games, the Lions. We're like on the road the next 3 or 4 games on the road out of 5 or something like that. Dallas, Philadelphia is there still not playing great football, but they're there. The Commanders are the real deal. We talked about this, Tommy. Remember, it was the one thing that we said. We go, what if the Commanders are really, really good? And they are. Jaden Daniels looks like the rookie of the year. Look out. So 30 to 24, brother. That's what it's going to be for the Detroit Football Lions. That's it. Long one, guys. 31 minutes and change. I pretty appreciate you guys coming in. Don't forget to hit the what's it called? The app on the bottom there. Hit that for the subscribe button, that little YouTube button. Don't forget to hit the bell up top and get all my videos. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to Mark Ormorn's forum. All Lions content. Really appreciate it, guys. Detroit Lions. Grit. Detroit versus everybody. Let's go. Kirby with a pick. Boom.